I think like what is that, Pro 3 or 3 Pro. The what's the other one? Grok. I'll be talking about Grok a number of times. And hey, what's up, man? And what's the other one? Perplexity and Claude. And so I am messing with them in order to try to figure out how to mess with the algos, right? Huh. Yo, did my mic just cut in? Please tell me my mic did not just cut in. I don't even know. Damn, I hope not. But anywho, I'm Trek with 2Ks. I'm gonna get into some things that scratch my brain, and we're gonna go from there. Right? We're gonna go from there. So let me swap. Nope. I don't know why I keep touching that one because that is not even the one. All right. So this first joint that caught my attention, which was more like I think that was last week. So this is the Robinhood joint. So basically, Robinhood is saying, let me read the post. As I've always talked about, Woo Blockchain is one of these accounts that I follow in regards to news stories, and I stay away from the price talk stuff. It's more about the hey, what are they saying as it relates to something technical or fundamental within relation to the crypto space and its development. So, according to Cryptopolitan, Robinhood announced a 3-phase plan to gradually enable permissionless access to tokenized stocks. In the final phase, users will be able to withdraw tokenized equities to external wallets and use them freely across DeFi applications, including as collateral for lending and other on chain activities. So now that I read it again, I'm actually curious on the end of, hey, what's going on, Perspective? Well, okay, so Robinhood says we're going to make. Wait. What part are you saying yes to? Okay, I'm gonna say, yeah. What's up? Yeah, I'm late too because I was messing around. You know what it is. I'm always like, I have the idea to start at a certain point, and then like I get caught up in looking into the articles, and then I was having a whole back and forth with Grok about two of the stories that I was covering, and I'm gonna get into those when I get to those stories because Grok was doing some is a couple of things that I noted on how Grok is moving. Right. So what did I say? Yo, only Bitcoin. It was like 7 minutes of silence. Jesus. I don't understand. The mic was on, yo. I don't even know what happened. The mic was on. But anywho, so yeah, this is happening. So now the because like, all right, because Robinhood deals with stocks on the was it the Nasdaq and it has the ETFs and all that stuff. So like, who's doing the tokenization for them, and then who's the partnership? Because this gets into the whole thing about like the secondary markets. Like it was like the whole thing back in the day on how when we was in the ICO phase, if a project released their ICO plan, it's like, here's our tokens, and then people was off to the gates on the DeFi platforms pushing them out whatever which way. It was like, screw whatever you over there talking about for Coinbase. I could do some stuff over here on this DeFi platform, right? I don't see that being this, but it makes me wonder, like, where is the trade-fi side of the agreement as far as Wall Street is concerned? That, because remember, like, you don't actually hold the stocks, right? So now you're going from you don't hold the stocks to that you're going to get a tokenization a tokenized financial instrument, a digital financial instrument that you are allowed to take and put into your personal wallet that then you can go into other DeFi platforms, quote DeFi platforms, right? Like sushi swap, like Aave and all of those. Yeah, bro, I'm telling you. But watch, when I get into the thing about what Grok was doing that I've been noting with all of these updates, and pretty much a lot of them are doing the same thing, and I'll get into it. But it I don't know, man, like this I understand what the intention is as far as this pushing people along the technology development and the maturation and the experimentation of integrating some type of quote crypto product within the product offer, right? So it's like, oh, well, I just want to be safe and get regular stocks, and I'm just letting it sit on Robinhood and do. This product, as tokenizing stocks, is going to change how the let's say this get adopted onto Webull. It makes it with Robinhood, Webull, and like yes, yes, exactly. Like the whole the yield farming and stuff like that. But like it's either going to be that other newer startups are going to come up and try to do this thing of tokenizing stocks, which again, I'm still on the like, you don't already own your stocks on these platforms to begin with. You technically don't even own the stocks in relation to like the TradeFi platform. So whether you talking Fidelity, Charles Schwab, JP Morgan, like there's a whole thing about like the ownership and what it really is versus what is the popular understanding, right? And it's not what most people think, especially in this day and age, right? So I'm curious on how that agreement went and them trying to say, well, we're going to take the stocks that we own as the company, being Robinhood, and then we're going to tokenize it and allow, because think about this, you're not actually leaving with the ownership of the stock. You're leaving with a derivative on top of the stock to go do whatever you do with it. But I imagine you're only going to be able to do it in a controlled secondary market, because Aave is a controlled secondary market. So is Sushi Swap and like the other quote DeFi platforms. I'm doing the rabbit ears and I'm saying quote for a reason. If you know, you know, right? So yeah, and then the other part of like, if this gains enough popularity and can and again, we're moving in the bigger picture, we're moving in a way where um I mean, yeah, but like you're not looking at it like that though. Or okay, that the average pajama trader ain't looking at it like that. It's like, yo, I'm able to like if this play is what I think it is, they're trying to redesign the environment of the market in terms of TradeFi and how like Charles Schwab's and them have business hours. If it really, really is able to run on the DGens crypto vibe type of like environment, you're talking about 24-hour trading. Like those who know what it is from back when you was out at like 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, looking at the Asian markets for when their exchanges opened up. Because in the earlier part, like you had to, stay up for a minute because now their people are up and they doing their trading and you trying to do your arbitrage to get your bag on whatever you were holding, right? If this really lands, oh, bruh, like in my mind, TradeFi has no leg to stand on but to make the adoption of this. But my issue is still, you already don't own the stock, and then they're going to give you a derivative, which is the tokenization of the stock. Now, are people going to make money? Sure, hell yeah. The question is, do you really understand which side of the business is making the money? Is it the end user as the quote token holder, aka the stockholder, or is it the company that's selling you the Pixes and the Axes, aka the stock, aka the token? Or not even, they're not even selling you the token. They're not selling you the stock. They're selling you the platform or the infrastructure to play with these financial instruments, these derivative based financial instruments, right? This is going to be interesting to see how this play out. Like, and especially for what's going on in just in the general economy. Like, folks are trying to find ways to get the additional bag. Like, y'all thought it was bad. What I don't know what that means, bro. The last comment, the ACCDSS, I don't know what that means. I recently went someplace, and when I tell you access, yes, 100%. Yeah. The stock market is not like, yeah. I'm not even gonna run down that rabbit hole about the whole Nvidia thing, and that shell game, because I can't completely explain it. But for the folks that I'm paying attention to, it doesn't. It definitely sounds like the government and the tech side is just playing in the public's face. Yeah. But yeah, I just went to someplace warm, and it definitely blew my mind for how expensive things could be when you get outside of the US. And then you're just like, wait, what? Gas regular is 565. That sounds like California numbers. Seeing as high as 8 for premium. Jesus. But like, everyone's on their hustle. And I think with how I'm understanding what's going on now, like the ability and the way that we live our day to day. So case in point, like, people are holding on to cars longer. Has anybody else noticed how it's like there's more um speed cameras and construction site cameras around? And I think states are picking up that that's the new lick. And why is it the lick? Because you can get the local people, and more importantly, you get the people who are from out of town. And what are the odds that they're gonna come back and fight with the ticket? 8 times out of 10, they just gonna pay the ticket and call it a day. I remember, I think it was before COVID, like, there was a news thing that came out about, like, DC was making millions on their speed trap cameras on 295, and there's another place I can't think of, but like, millions. And it then came out that majority of the people they was making the money off was the people that didn't live in DC. It was the people passing through DC. I'm just saying, one of those things that I've noted, that I be seeing more speed cameras around from, the different places that I run up and down in. Um, the cities in the states are picking up. They trying to get the bag every which way off out of the people. All right, so this other story here, moving on. So if you don't know, like, if you're trying to get a second citizenship or a residency, um there's like X amount of ways you can do it, right? And it varies as far as the cost per country. If anybody's aware of like the Nomad Capitalist, he just did a video the other day. He said that he was closing down part of his business that is operated out of Dubai. And he said because of some of the thing that they did with their taxes, if anybody was paying attention to that. So like that, yes, that, yeah. So where I'm going with this one, like if you don't know, it's usually either you invest a large amount of money, minimum has usually been around a 250K marker nowadays. So like maybe the last like 5-ish, 6-ish years, that's like been the minimum of wherever you go. Sometimes it could be as the, well, actually no, the Caribbean has the lowest, which was like 150K per person last year. Some of the European countries have it where you can do you have to start a business and then you have to hire locals. You can't like start the business and what? Yeah, what's going on? That I'm dying with the name though. I'm dying with the name, right? Um, Cash App. Cash App gonna do it too. That's what I'm talking about. So it's gonna be one of those like Cash App, Webull, Robinhood. They're gonna be the spearhead tech companies, the fintech companies, and I'm trying to think of like who else. Like Venmo might drag their feet on it. PayPal will probably drag their feet on it, but like Cash App, Robinhood, and everybody forgets about Webull. Those will be the spearhead. But it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, like, 27, 28, down that part of it. But yeah, so back to this, right? So now I happen to go, like, I see initially I'm scrolling through and I see this and I'm like, huh, wow, okay, what's going on there? So I just skim on the initial text and then I just bookmark it. I'm like, all right, I'll get into this later. So then I get into a whole back and forth earlier today about this post with Grok. And so Grok is trying to tell me that this company, okay, so basically it is Bitcitizenship, which is also called like Bitcoin Italia, and it's headed by this person named Alexandro. And I'm gonna throw this person's name out, and I don't know the context of how this was mentioned, but in the back and forth with Grok about this article, and as I've said, I think that Grok for the LLMs is the expert because of how it sits with the data, in connection with the data on X, aka Twitter. And so we'll see. We'll see on that one. We'll see how this plays out. But folks, with year-round trend, that's true. I mean, if you've been out, like there's a sizable Italian population. There's a sizable Asian population in Italy too. Folks don't talk about that. But anywho, and so I'm reading through. Matter of fact, let me do this so y'all can see. All right. So now this is the whole thing, and I'm not even gonna bother to read this whole thing as far as like how they're breaking it down. But basically, when I initially saw this, I thought it was like, hey, give 250 worth of of Bitcoin and you can get this citizenship. That's not what's going on here at all. It is, hey, give $250 worth of money, $250 in euro. I think if you do the USD, you have to convert to the euro. And from there, we will acquire Bitcoin in our treasury because they're doing this, or they're projected. This company literally got put together like, well, it's registered or recognized this month. The guy could have had this idea for like years. I don't know, but whatever. So now you go and you give them the money. They acquire the Bitcoin because they're doing layer 2 staking and some other stuff. And I literally was like, wait a minute. So you're telling me that they're doing layer 2 stuff that's proof of work? No, proof of stake. It's not proof of work. It's proof of stake. And there apparently are a number of companies or platforms that would allow you to do non-custodial Bitcoin staking with them as proof of stake platforms. And I said, hold on, like, what is literally? I said, like, what are the name of the companies? So I go through. A matter of fact, let me? Where are you? That's what I'm looking for. Come on, open up. All right, so where's the one? Okay, this is the one. This is the last one I was asking about. So let me go down because it listed the companies, and honestly, I think the only one I heard of was Core, because all the other companies are like started this year, last year, right? So I'm like, this is, but the way the post reads, the way that Grok searched through Twitter, there's nothing that says that the companies that are listed in Grok that can do this function of non-custodial Bitcoin staking. There's nothing that says that this company or this group over here that is doing this residency program, because that's what it sounds like. The main business is to get people to put money in, and it's like, yo, in X number of months you'll get this residency for Italy, and they're saying like within 3 months, which is like interesting. Like, if I'm curious as to what the setup is and who the in plug is for this person to say that we can get you this residency, not citizenship thing within, where was it? Hold on, where they said it in one of the parts, but it's like, all right, yeah, 3 to 6 months. And it's like, okay, that's going to be interesting. And apparently they already raised like near a couple million or something like that. But the idea is pulling the money in the fiat, acquire the Bitcoin through the staking and through other kind of crypto financialization things. And then like every 24 months pay out in fiat. And mind you, the company is holding the Bitcoin. What got me was Grok was trying to tell me that this is in line with the ethos of Bitcoin. And I said, hold on, that don't make no sense, because according to the white paper, it was about a peer-to-peer, which means it was about the individual, not corporations, not LLCs, and not governments. And so then we go down that rabbit hole of, oh yeah, you're right. It doesn't align in regards to the individual person, but this company, Bitcoin Italia, is like, well, they're doing the self-custody, and they're not doing it where they're staking, but they hand over the Bitcoin to a Coinbase or a Kraken. So they're like, well, we're not doing third-party custody. We're holding it ourselves. And it's like, yeah, but like, the people who are investing in this, because this is all about equity, so you got to drop 250,000 worth of equity cash into this company for them to do all of the work. Don't get it twisted. Like, don't get it twisted in terms of I understand and I accept now that there are the community is not one large conglomerate of I believe in crypto this way. I believe in Bitcoin this way as a maxi or as I came in after 2019 and it's the only way. Like I get that part now. I accept it. But when you've been around for a minute and you see some of the stuff and you look, and again, like this is what I was saying at the top of the hour, like you look and it's just like, but I mean, you could just do it yourself, but I get it. Like, you don't want to do the work. And as I've been saying for how long now, what gets me about what's going on now in the space is we're going back to the TradeFi mentality, the thought process of I don't want, I want generational wealth in rabbit ear quotes, but I don't want financial or economic sovereignty in terms of doing the work myself to secure it. I want to delegate financial responsibility onto another entity or person, but I want the rewards of that financial activity, which is not economic or financial sovereignty. In those two phrasings that I just said, that is you saying, I'm going to do X amount of the legwork, if not half of it, a quarter of it, all of it. That's not what's going on in this new age. In my mind, in my simple little, some random guy on the internet mind, we are working our way back into the TradeFi customer behavior. That's what this sounds like to me. Hey, give us your money. We're gonna do some things. Hopefully, we're gonna figure it out. And that was a smart move, yo. 24 months. We're not gonna say 2 years. We're just gonna say 24 months. And hopefully, in 24 months, they figure out how to start generating revenue on top of yes, that is what TradeFi means. But how do they start generating revenue on top of the staking? Because the staking isn't a sustainable thing. It can only run but for so long. And if somebody gives you 250K and you're just like, yeah, we're still trying to figure out how to make the money, especially if you have it where like there's an economic crash or like one of these proof of stake platforms goes out of business or has some kind of hack situation, or like there's so many things that can go wrong. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, yo, like it was smart of y'all to do the 24-month thing, but ooh, like how long do you think it's going to work to just keep taking in the money and be like, yeah, we're going to give you the residency, in 3 to 6 months, but you only get to do the deposit part if you get approved for the residency program. So you could still just be sitting there and wait. Like it's an interesting setup. Where is it? No, this isn't it. I'm trying to find the companies that it listed because I only heard of like one of them. Where are you? Yeah, this is a reward. No. So, so arguably, they're trying to do like a Michael Saylor's strategy thing, but at the same time, it's not like that either. All right, so, no, that's not it. Oh, so that was the other thing to know. So I'm like, oh, they're running nodes. They're running their own nodes. So wait, they're not mining? And it's like, well, no. According to what this person is saying, they're not mining. They're just doing their nodes, and then they're running servers in order to like on laptops and servers in order to do the staking thing. And I said, all right, this just I don't know. This just kind of sounds away because if you're running servers, servers take up space, servers take up energy, servers take up resources, electricity on the end of running the servers, plus the cooling systems to deal with whatever space you're in. But there's no thing that says, hey, here's how many server racks we're running, right? Again, Italy's a beautiful place. If you can get a residency, cool. You know what I'm saying? The acceptance of like, yes, we are. This is another sign. If this gets legs and like has a couple of years of growth, or like not growth, but let's say runway. Because again, 24 months they might not be able to make none of these platforms actually work with them in the 24 months. So like Core is one of the companies, Babylon Chain, Stacks is one of the companies. What was the other one? Where'd you go? It was Stacks, Babylon Chain, Xstat Network, which I know the only one I think I heard of is Core, and Core is the oldest one, and all the other ones are like 23, 24, came out this year too. But I can see this catching on. Yeah, I'm not even gonna throw that thought process out there, but I can see this catching on. I can also see it failing horribly. I can see it either of these ways. What did you just say? Yes, correct. Legacy. Yes. All right. Yeah. So yeah, that's how I'm taking this stuff right now. But I beat that horse enough. Let us move on to this next joint. So if I think I'm reading this right in what Lop is talking about, as I told y'all, I follow Lop because sometimes he throws out the funny stuff, he throws out the fuck around and find out stuff, and then he throws out some of the techie stuff too. So I like following his account for that mixture of things. And in this case, somebody was making fake fiat to get crypto, if I'm understanding this right, and then they got busted. And yeah, it's like that. It is like that out here. What was the other one? I had wanted to listen to this. Oh, this joint right here. I feel like this is trying to sell the public on some BS. Um, I don't even know. I don't remember when I followed this account, but basically, Mike Alfred is like breaking. Donald Trump, Scott Bassett, and allies are working on multiple step plan to bolster Bitcoin, MicroStrategy, and stablecoins while simultaneously defunding JP Morgan, the Fed, and U.S. banking capital to protect. No, sorry, U.S. banking cabal to protect U.S. citizens. The administration views it as a defining battle. Now, I don't follow this person's stuff enough to know if they're just being facetious or like tongue in cheeky right now in this post. But it's just one of those like, there were crypto folks out here who actually do believe this, though. I don't know if Alfred actually believes this, Mike. But there are folks who are on the like, nah, Trump and them is trying to work to do da da da, and it's just like, I don't know about that. That just sounds like hogwash. That just sounds like you're trying to gaslight people. Um, I'm not accepting that one. Not accepting that one. And so, with that being said, hold on, let me move this over. There we go. So for those who can't see it, now you can see it, right? And if you do believe it, it's just like, what am I missing that this don't make no sense to me and what you saying? Is it that just I'm just too much in my crypto unk mentality? Is it that I'm not connecting the dots, or I'm like too old school? I don't know. Like, I think I pay attention to some relatively smart people when it comes to like this economic stuff, the financial stuff. And the way that those smart folks who are in the more traditional, financial worlds, and I cross-reference that with what I understand about crypto, and it's just like, okay, I can see why that perspective is there in regards to like how the Genius Act is a eventual setup to do some devaluing of the dollar, or the setup to export stable coins. Like, some of the stuff definitely makes sense to me. But to say like, hey, there is a conspiracy of Trump, Bassett, and other Bitcoin minded folks like Michael Saylor to undermine JP Morgan, the Fed, and the banking cabal. Like, damn, you gaslighting hard right there. Like, that's you out here really trying to get me to drink this. I, I lost the metaphor on that one. I'm sorry. All right, let me read some of these comments, because here y'all are just jumping in and out and saying stuff, and I'm trying not to look, because then I get distracted because of y'all. You know who you are. You know who you are. I appreciate y'all though. I said that the other day in my LinkedIn post. I appreciate y'all. I will take the tangents and the rambles gladly. So where we at? What'd you say? So you see what Only Bitcoin said: modern fintech equals moonwalking into the future. We're looking ahead at BTC and crypto, blockchain, etc., but we're moving backwards, right back into the banksters' clutches. Why? Physical laziness. Yeah, yeah. Who said this? Come on, pop up. The revolution has been co-opted by the oligarchs. Yeah, yeah, that too. Where you at? And who's the other one? There's another joint that I was trying to get to. Why are we not moving? Oh, that's why. All right. What's the other thing? But yeah, buy Trump coin. Oh yeah, the way this Trump thing is going right now, him in the space is wild. Other news. Apparently, Apple will integrate Ethereum payments. I don't know when that's supposed to come out, but apparently that's in the news cycle, according to CoinVo. Right. So I guess we'll see how that really works, which is like, I don't know, like, what is it? Best viewers stream rainbow. I'm not even worried about that one. It plays into the tap and go, but it's like, why didn't y'all go with the Bitcoin first? And I kind of have a theory, but I don't know if I'd be right on this theory. I could be way wrong. Arguably, it is because Ethereum, the new Ethereum, is more controllable. And I'm gonna get into that distinction in a couple, because of this other story that I seen that I was just like, wait, what? How the hell? And again, Grok was trying to make it sound like, oh, well, no, this aligns with blah blah. And I said, nah, that no. Grok, there's definitely some biasness depending on how you prompt your statement or question, and then having to know enough to like prompt it to cross-reference its information outside of Twitter. or know enough of a thing to be like, well, what about X, Y, and Z? Because I'm gonna get into it in a minute, but it definitely had me like that. Nah, that don't even make sense the way you saying that. All right. What was the other thing? I'm reading this one now. So Mr. Bay ears? Baby ears? Is it baby ears or babe or bab ears? I'm not jabbing. I'm just curious on how is it like a pimp named Slickback? Like I say, it's Trek with 2Ks. Is it baby Mr. Baby Ears or is it Mr. Bab Ears? Either way, yeah. All right. So right now we could all do is position ourselves as best we can into a basement portfolio. There's always a new world power after the previous one. This is just try to delay the fall. Oh, the US is just trying to yes, 100%. 100%, man. P. Yeah, 100% on the delay. Like and then the funky part of it's just not going to play out the way folks project. Like there's a book called what is it, the Sovereign Citizen, the Global Citizen. I forget the exact title, and I read the book a while ago, and I was recently thinking about the book, and I was like, yo, I want to read that over again just to see like how much did it catch, as far as, because I think the book was written in the 90s and I read it in like the mid 2000s. So I'm like, from the 2012 to now, like how because I at least for what I remember, I think they were more, which is funny, they were more downplayed or anti on the China thing. But you know what? I'm gonna get that book back again and go through that, and I'm gonna bring it up at some point, especially because of how things are moving right now with this whole BRIC situation, and then like what China has been doing with the digital yuan over like the last 2 years, right? Um, yeah, that's gonna be a topic I'm gonna bring up at some point once I get the book and start going through it again. All right, other comment. So I just heard I just heard this in a space. They said they didn't like how Wall Street was treating crypto like a side piece. I mean, Wall Street, Wall Street, nah. I think the side piece is the graduated version from the redheaded stepchild that it used to be. And like back before what, 2018, you had financial institutions playing in the space, but they were doing it very on the low, very, oh, we don't touch that stuff, we would never. But back then you could do certain things, like you didn't have all of the readable names and identification stuff the way you have it now, right? So like there's definitely stories that came out about JP Morgan playing in the space around, I think, like the 16-17 period. Fidelity jumped in early on the mining stuff. Oh god, who else am I trying to think of? Damn, I can't think of the other stuff right now, but like if you've been around Mr. Baby, okay, it is baby ears. Huh, interesting, sir. I Yeah, I'm curious onto how that became the handle. I imagine there's a story behind it, but that we could say for another day. Yeah, so like arguably crypto has graduated from the redheaded stepchild to the side chick, because the side chick still gets to be seen in public. the side chick still gets praise, even though it's not the same praise as the main, right? The side chick still gets some nice things. Gets, you know what I'm saying? Like, I would argue that's a come up. I would argue it's a come up, especially for how folks was talking back in the day. Jamie Dimon, what's his name from PayPal, like Elizabeth Warren, and she's still on her damn thing too. So, but like it's arguably a come up, and they are they going to take the old school ideologies with it? No, we already see what it is now. The folks that are moving into the space now, or the folks that have like been in the latter half of the teenage years of Bitcoin and things like XRP and stuff, like it's not the same mentality, it's not the same understanding. Like those of us who are old enough to remember what the '08, '07, as far as I know, for some of the economic folks I pay attention to, we're saying the start time was really '07, when things started to go, oh shit. And so like folks have been conditioned to have short memory spans. The general population has been conditioned to prefer convenience and delegated responsibility over economic and financial response and sovereignty. The same thing with digital sovereignty. We go for the convenience, myself included. I'm not even gonna cap for y'all. Like, I'm in the same boat for certain things. All right. Let me read what Mr. Baby Ears said. Physical gold, silver, BTC as a base. Then short them T-bills, real estate, cash, and eventually stable coins. Something like this. We use cryptocurrency to create a debasement portfolio. I'm not saying this is the financial advice that you should follow. I don't know what your situation is. I'm saying this as a non-CPA, non-lawyer, non-financial advisor. I'm literally just some voice you heard on the internet. Like, just remember that. I do have a CPA. His name is CJ, the smart guy. So when we get back into this tax season, and we'll see if the government actually still wants to be open at the end of January, I'm going to be pushing him heavy. Because if you in this U.S. jurisdiction, you got to cross your T's and dot your I's. Because when things start to get funky, what do they say? When empires start to die, they start to eat from what they eat. They eat from within, or like they destroy themselves from within. And it's usually within the financial realm of things, economic realm of things, where they start to feed on the most vulnerable. So that's the financial class who don't have the lawyers, who don't have the connections, who are not, right at the money printer, so to speak, the Cantillon effect, as the uneducated economist always talks about. And yeah, that's where we are. That's the side note ramble excursion. But yeah, let's get into another one. What is it? It's gonna come up. There we go. China's in the US in 57 out of 64 advances. And it's the second largest economy in the world. Eventually be the number one largest economy. They have most of the rare earths and manufacturing. Yeah. Depending on who you're following and the metrics being used, arguably they're number one right now, depending on the metrics and who you're following and cross-referencing your information with. What? Huh? I don't know what you was wondering. My bad. Hold up. Okay. Yeah, you threw me off, only Bitcoin. You threw me off because I don't know what you were wondering. Oh, you cut the sentence. That's what happened. Okay, got it. have. Yes, that is another true statement. And it's the funny part of like, it wasn't that we had to like twist their arm, right? And I like folks forget that I think it started either in the 70s or the 80s. I think it's no 80s. The what is it? The the Better Business Bureau. Was it the Better Business Bureau? It was one of the federal agencies or departments that like was literally giving people the how to's on how to outsource your business. And it was like, yo, if you take your business, if you take the manufacturing part of the business over here, you'll be able to have higher revenues because you're going to cut your costs for what it is here locally. And we were glad to do it. Like, all right, bet. Let's go for more money. Oh, the stocks is going to go up. The stocks is going to be worth more. Oh, yeah, look at the revenue. Look at us being in the green. It was, quote, the American dream. And we ran with it. And, now look at where we are for certain things. All right. So I used to wonder, how did the entire galaxy forget about the Jedi and the Force after only 18, 20 years? The Empire erased them to where most people thought they were a myth. Yo, that's true. I'm watching it in real life. Bruh, what did I say this the other day? Or no, that was damn. Did I say this the other day last week about how words cast spells and like that whole thing with using the right words to trigger people? Yo, oh my god, what is the name? Hold on. Now I gotta go look for this. Damn, now I gotta go look for this. All right, there, and shout outs to 3D because 3D was the one who put me onto this. There is a anime that I am trying to remember the name of. Wait, who? I'm trying to think of who's the last person I sent this to. What is going on? Okay, what is the name of this anime? No, where are you? Damn, I cannot remember the name of this anime right now. But when I tell you, it so exemplifies the way that like the world is operating in terms of like you see turmoil is constantly like um focused in certain regions and pockets. And like that anime so goes in about that and how like it's an intentional thing. Like somebody basically figured out how to hack vocabulary to be able to trigger people and societies and nation states to constantly be in flux of violence. And that's literally like the core of the whole thing. And when I look at how things work out in this real world, and when you listen to some of the stuff that is said in the news cycle, between some of the stuff Trump says, between some of the stuff that Benson says, even what's his name from the Federal Reserve, like the stuff he says that influences the whole thing of how the market looks at like the 2% rate thing, right? Like they all play the game. They all do their part in doing the do. I was listening to Majori. I'd be messing up her name, but the one who just resigned, the Congress lady from Georgia, and even in like how she was talking about her resigning, it was just like, oh, okay, like you still playing the word game for how you're saying like, all right, I'm out. I'm done with this. I'm gonna go back and find another way to like support my community. But you were doing certain cues. She was playing You know what? Let me not. Ooh, I had to reel myself back in just now. Better Business Bureau. Yes. The Better Business Bureau. That's who it was. No. What is the name of this? All right. Damn, I thought this was the last person I sent it to, but apparently I was wrong. Yep, I was wrong. It wasn't the last person I sent it to. But anywho, moving on. So where am I going? Is that gonna do it? Nope, that is not what I wanted. That is not what I wanted. Oh, come on. Seriously? Oh, come on. All right, sorry. I'm over here trying to move around. Okay, there we go. Nope. All right. Sorry, I'm trying to get back to the page I was on. 21st century, Chinese century, American century, 20th century. So I've proposed this question out. This is more of my LinkedIn like talking point of what does the U.S. empire morph into after it loses the number one position? Because history showed us that like Rome quote fell. Like it didn't fall in terms of the country, the people and stuff no longer existed. It was, hey, you guys aren't the top dog anymore. You can't go around doing the shit that you was doing before, right? So like then Spain has their run at it, England has its run at it, and these places still exist, right? But like you would swear to goodness if we aren't number one, oh my God, the whole American population is gone and done for. Like, that's what you would think in my mind for how I understand what is being pushed out in the mainstream news. Like, oh my God, if we're not number one, then like, hey, America's about to just be gone. Like, the people are going to be gone. The country's never going to be a part of history again. It's like, no, like, it has to mature, it has to change, it has to migrate, it has to evolve into something else that is in relation to what the bigger geopolitical situation is. Like history continually shows us, like no government or civilization lasts forever. We may have these long ass cycles that can go, a couple hundred years, but no one gets to be king of the mountain forever, right? Although it's not enough to talk about many segments of society and the government reporters, entitlement propositions are projected. Ooh, 2035, Medicare, Medicaid. Yeah, listen. And at some point that conversation, shout outs to my gang folks. That conversation is going to happen at some point. Like I was talking to somebody about this the other day, and we were making a point about if our kids wanted to join the military now, we'd be on some like, hell no, don't even do that to yourself. Don't. Like the incentives and the way things are, nah. Like I remember when my son used to ask me certain questions about stuff. I'm like, nah, like I don't think it's a everybody thing, but I think what got me more was not everyone is ready for the trade-offs that come with serving. And then if you like are one of those career folks where you're trying to do the 20, it's the trade-offs is real and it can vary. It's a mixed bag, and you don't get to pick and choose what you want. You go through your experience, your time, and like you just get handed things. It's not to say that you can't, um learn discipline or like be better in physical shape and learn leadership skills and better yourself in regards to academia, or like when you get out you get like a contractor job or you get some like good paying figure job, but like that is not a guarantee for everyone. And then we're not even going to get into the things that like it can go as far as the physical and the mental side. Just saying. But anywho, right, back to what's going on here. All right, I find where I'm at. Oh, let me jump onto this one real quick before I get over to this other post. So I'm not going to play this video. I don't know how I am about those, but in this, Treasury Secretary said they are removing regulatory barriers for Bitcoin and crypto. The next 4 years are going to be wild. So he was saying at this American Bankers Association event that, again, as I forgot who said it, but like Wall Street is moving Bitcoin and crypto up from the redheaded stepchild to be the side chick, because they're lowering the barrier to entry to have TradeFi be able to do more stuff with the crypto, Bitcoin, stable coins, the other like main things. Friggin', where is it at? Going to this next story. Oh, shout outs to India. They're gonna host DEF CON 8, which is pretty dope. Man, if I can make that, I would so go out there for that. Not even gonna lie to y'all. Like, I would definitely go out there for that if I could. But who knows what life is going to be thrown at me by the time that happens. I don't know. Maybe might be a thing. I just want to throw that out there real quick. Shout outs to India for being the host for the next DEF CON. All right. So this is the other joint that I wanted to get into. This is not a price talk point, but it is a point. Here we come. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. Like, I don't think it would get to that point, but And hey, price cuddle. Okay. I don't know if it will get to that point. The world is becoming a multipolar world of multiple world powers. The USA can't compete with the global South. England held the number spot for 200 years. To your question, yeah. You know what I find funny about the current situation as far as this transition in this, in like the multipolar thing and the whole global South thing, is that when you listen to like our side here in the West and like the talking points that are sold to the public through the mainstream thing, unless you really understand or like you're really looking outside of the Western mainstream like news stuff, like you don't get that what's happening is we're being out capitalized. We're like capitalism. We're failing at capitalism, and we don't want to admit it to the American public that we're being beat at capitalism by a political system that for multiple generations we have told our home population is anti-capitalism, is anti prosperity of the people. Like that's that when I tell you, like I really be just laughing at myself about it, and it's like, but here we go, we about to like go through a whole nother round of putting in protectionist policies for our various industries. And don't get it twisted as far as like, oh well, you're not being pro-American and da da da. I make distinctions, and I promise you, like, nah, you're not gonna get the question me on that, especially because I know what I do on the gang side, and I'm not over here trying to say I'm like a super Joe. I'm not saying that at all. But if you haven't gone to that level, I just don't see how you can try to throw any shade at me. But nonetheless, I still have eyes and I still have a brain to understand and like cross-reference what I'm being told in the mainstream media here, and then when I cross-reference it with stuff outside, it's just like, oh, this stuff ain't adding up. And we are being beat at the thing that we like promoted as this is the West. We are the bearers of capitalism. We are the bearer. We're not going to talk about the political side, but on the economic side of it, like we're being beat at our own system. That's just where we are. But let's jump into this real quick. All right, so seeing this story too, and it kind of threw me off, and I was just like, wait, how does that work? So it says this is on Cointelegraph. Huge Bitmine, not Bitmain, it's Bitmine, wants to own 5% of ETH supply. And in my mind, I was like, well, how does that work if there's no cap on ETH? Like it isn't Bitcoin. There's no just a limit of blah 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 amount. And so now I go over to Grok and I'm like, hey, make this make sense. How does this work? And so I have a whole back and forth with Grok about this thing. And again, it does this thing where like if you don't know a little bit of something to like throw out there to like get it to reevaluate a point, or you are pushing to counter a particular point, it'll just say stuff that's like, oh well, yeah, this, you know. So here's the thing. Bitmine wants to have 5% of the total supply, which is like 2 something million of ETH. But apparently, like issuance wise, is one thing of how much is out there versus how much gets burned, right? For how the new structure works under the proof of stake with the last two major implementations, the IPs, right? And so in my mind, though, I was like, but what's to say that it'll stick at 2 million in like 3 years? What's to say it sticks at 2 million in 5 years? It could go up, it could go down, right? And for what we see happening right now, there's more burn than there is in issuance. But the way Grok tried to argue it was, the question I said was like, hold on, how well, the first question was, how is this possible if ETH has no cap? And then it tried to say that it's a deflationary mechanism. It's a deflationary crypto because of how the burn mechanism works, which I would argue different. So then one of the questions I had later was like, well, does this follow sound base economic principles? And it was like, well, yeah, because it goes into the whole supply and demand thing. I said that doesn't necessarily jive because where was it? So you see where it said, so that was a question I had. Hey, how does this follow this? As far as I was like, oh, this is a textbook example of supply and demand dynamics. And I was like, but they can drop in ETH and then they can pull out ETH, and then you have the burning thing going on. That's more of a, and then granted, then they try to run down the rabbit hole of saying, well, we've had different types of money destruction in different forms. So it's like, oh well, you know, when banks claim back bills in circulation. So like we no longer have a $500 bill. We no longer have oh man, I think there was like $1,000 bill at one point in circulation. So there's like, oh, that's money, you know, that's money destruction, which is the same thing as burning. And I'm like, no, because the value is still transferred out into something else. No, or it gave an example of like, you know, when gold is melted, and I'm like, no, but the gold is still gold. Like it didn't lose the value because of the form that it was in, right? Another example was like, oh, if you lose some of it. The lose part is not the lose, the destruction. There it was. The destruction of money over time because it deteriorates in regards to the physical aspect of it. I'm like, all right, that one's kind of making sense. Got you. But my point being is that these LLMs, they're definitely getting better at answering questions and like matching, token sets and stuff up together. But the way and it's very conversational. It's very what's the word? It's passive in the delivery of framing it in regards to this particular topic of how it is acceptable and makes sense that Ethereum, using the burn mechanism that it does, is following sound money principles, in particular of the supply and demand thing. And so what was the other thing I said after that? How does it follow basic principles? Burning existed. Okay, so I got into that whole part about the different things of how it existed. Oh, it even tried to say stock buybacks was a form of burning. And I'm like, how is stock buybacks a form of burning if all it is the company taking capital from the depositor, no, the stakeholder, the stock person, and then moving it around somewhere in the organization? Like, how is that comparable to burning, which is completely removed currently from the supply? That can't be the same thing. And then the other part of like, stock buybacks are a way to artificially inflate your stock value. Like, make that make sense. So like, you see what I'm saying? Like, it's these little, I don't, I don't know if subversive is the word to use in this situation right now, but it definitely does some things that, for how it argues, it's just like, nah, like you got to have a level of understanding, or at least be able to throw out enough questions to get it to rethink the things that it said and make the corrections and like admit to the corrections. What was the other thing? There was something else that I had got into. So the last part, and I don't know if this is going to work out for Bitmain or not. I have no idea, honestly. But the other part that got me was, what guarantees, because what did I say? I said, if the burning mechanism is literally just code in a smart contract, what guarantees that down the road there won't be a code developed to unburn ETH? So it basically made this argument of like, well, one, it would be really intensive as far as the financial resources to be able to do it for what you'd have to do for the staking. Then it would have an issue in regards to the public perception. And I said, hold on. At one point in the ETH community, code was law. And then the founders of the nonprofit side under Vitalik and them was like, you know what? We're going to go back on the chain. And that's how you get Ethereum Classic, and then you have ETH now. So code was decided to not be law anymore by the minority of the folks that were in the leadership role and stuff at the time. Community initially did not agree with that move. But now, when you talk to folks who came in after all of this, and when you question Grok about things related to Ethereum, it makes it sound like this Ethereum is the original Ethereum. This Ethereum didn't do a breakaway, didn't do a rewrite, didn't counter its original ethos. And that's the part that has had me like, are you serious? Like, but in some veins and some thought I get it. But again, if you don't know, um if you don't know enough, or at least have a way of like figuring out how to question the response, because that's another thing I do now. Like, so I'll literally I'll write out my initial blog for LinkedIn, and then I'll put it in like DeepSeek, and then I'll put it over in Claude, I'll put it in Perplexity, and then I'll see the different points that it gets at me about. So usually there's some grammar stuff because I'll be horrible at spelling. But what I've noted of late, maybe 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks back, I would always get a rewrite. I didn't have to prompt for the rewrite. Now all of a sudden, I don't get any rewrites from like none of them. Grok, Claude, Perplexity, DeepSeek. It'll give me corrections, but it won't give me the rewrites automatically anymore. And the other thing that I noted that has been going across all of at least the ones that I'm using, is there's more online search capability being integrated into them. Because, and I say this because for how my prompt setup is for when I have it look at my blog writings before I post them, one of the ones I did I think last week was like, how does this sound in tone and in the brand and style of Trek with 2Ks? And I said like, this is for Trek with 2Ks LinkedIn posts. And so there was some searching thing that happened on the back end that, like, I think it was Claude that was able to look at the Twitter and the YouTube stuff and the LinkedIn stuff and was like, yes, this matches, or this is in sync with blah 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 blah. And I was just like, oh, and like it named a couple of things that are maybe like 3-4 years old. And I said, oh snap, like it's going back. I wasn't expecting that. They're getting smarter, they're getting better, but it's still a level of like, you gotta still do some level of your own due diligence when you're using these LLMs, aka AI systems, platforms, because the hallucination isn't the same as before, but it's definitely not 100% hitting with accuracy. Hence why now all of them at the bottom, after they give you the prompt, they'll have that small disclaimer of, oh, blah, blah, blah makes mistakes, or blah, blah, blah sometimes does not have the most accurate information of blah, blah, blah. So one of those other things to like pay attention to and watch out for if you're getting into messing around with these LLMs. Oh, what was the thought process I had earlier? Oh man, what was I? There was something that I thought about earlier that fell in line with what you're saying, Mr. Baby Ears. That damn, I can't remember the thought I had in full about, but it fell in line with they're trying to mess um with the market, and it's just like, oh, you can have the setup for down the road. Oh, okay, bet. This is what it was. All right, so I'm gonna run through these real quick. So apparently Brazil is being bearish, or like they're trying to figure out how they're gonna do their cross border crypto taxes, which basically means there is more metadata going into the blockchain transactions that will allow for more geo blocking. Like, and Brazil has some pretty sizable exchanges, for Latin America. I forgot the name of that. Was it at Brazilteca? I met them folks when I was in Chile, like in like 2019 or 2020. But yeah, that's the direction they're moving in. What was the other one? Oh, and then this one also like kind of got me too. With MasterCard has partnered with Polygon to integrate crypto transactions with usernames. So that whole readable ID thing, right? That's what that's about right there. So we're gonna see how that plays out down the road. More integration. As we've seen with the private equity for decades, BlackRock is perhaps the number one example of this. They own a piece of everything. Yeah. Who's bigger? Or like who sits in the because like what's the name of them? Procter and Gamble. Procter and Gamble's portfolio is huge. Huge. And most folks have no idea how much stuff is actually a part of the Procter and Gamble portfolio. What do they call it? It's the house of the branded. No, it's not a branded house. It's a house of brands. And in terms of marketing stuff, it's a house of brands because each company product has like their own, packaging look and blah 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 to them. But they all are a subsidiaries of Procter and Gamble, and they've been around for a minute. Monty J7G, I have no idea because I don't know what the hell that is. And Mr. Only Bitcoin. Grok is hallucinating based on garbage in, garbage out principles as far as data goes. Sad look, Elon is being complicit. So, all right. If you prompt it and then you know how to counter it in this response, you can get some accurate stuff. It's just like, but you gotta understand how to deal with the prompting part. And the prompting means like how you're configuring your question or statement to give it like, well, am I asking you a specific thing? And for me, and I'm keep saying this, when it comes to the crypto thing, I see Grok as being the expert because of where it sits. Is it garbage in? 100% it's garbage in. 100% it's garbage in. I would imagine though that let's say, over this next like 5-8 years, maybe more along the line of 5 years. Yo, you know what's funny? Now that I think about this, Grok is Elon's version of Cliff High's web crawler, but focused um on Twitter. That's what Grok is. Grok is Eli's version of Cliff High's web crawler. And what did he call those, the reports? Damn, who remembers? What did he call the reports? I can't remember the name of them right now. But yeah, that's literally what it is. So like it's the whole thing of like it'll get to a better um sentiment analysis. That's what it doesn't have in regards to understanding like, yes, it can see 50 posts about Twitter. 50 posts about Bitcoin that say price go up. So it's like, oh, the sentiment for price increase is positive. But can it tell the difference between the troll and the actual quote believer or the maxi? Can it tell the difference between the gaslighting and the sarcasm? It doesn't in my opinion, it doesn't have that level of sentiment analysis, which was what Cliff was really working on with his stuff. I think that's going to be my talking point. I think that's going to be the talking point. Screw off on Ethereum, screw off on the Italian residency thing. The talking point is going to be Grok is Elon Musk's version of Cliff High's web crawler. And I cannot remember the damn name of what he called the reports. I'm so annoyed right now. All right, I'm going to come back to that in a minute. But all right, next joint is Japan will lower the tax on Ethereum gains from 55% to 20%. That is wild. I did not know it was that high. That's holy cow. I did not know it was that high. And that is the last story I got as far as what I have looked to cover today. Yeah. So like I'm mixing and matching and trying to figure out some things and playing around with this whole AI stuff, the LLMs and some other things. And like I said, like I don't have no guarantees on nothing and the this is the surefire. I'm just literally out here experimenting. Like I am you know what? I will wait until I get that particular endeavor done before I actually say something. But I am certainly playing around, and I'll admit I'm not using it in the most efficient way. I'm definitely not using them every day. But I am playing around with them. Like y'all see, if you follow me on the Twitter side, I got the blue check thing going on. And I'm trying to use these LLMs to figure out how to deal with the content side, the YouTube side channel stuff, and like yeah, with the the crypto stuff. But then there's some other things that I'm looking to do that I literally be throwing out ideas to them, and then I'll just see like what they give as the output for plan of action. And it's so crazy. Like you can cross reference them and it and you'll see how the answers either evolve or how they stick to their guns with what they say is like, oh, you should do this. um yeah, like that's where I'm at right now with this whole crypto and LLM aka AI thing right now. And trying to figure out, how do I step up the game but in a different way going into 2026. I'm not 100% sure yet, but it's all an experiment and it's all a like fail forward kind of thing. At this point, what am I think year wait, so 2018, 19, 20. Yeah, like the content thing, I didn't realize how long I've been at it. Like it's been a good minute at this point. Um Definitely more than 5 years, yo. That's crazy. And in different kind of iterations. And like the videos and the audio stuff is out there. Like it is out there. Um now I got to go through the process of gathering everything back in. Lord. But I got multiple AI agents to be able to do these things. So that's the stuff that I'm going to be working on going into 2026. Yeah. Oh, so let's close it out because I need to have this be a certain length because of something that I'm trying to do with one of the AI platforms. So yeah, we heard the things that I covered. India is about to in Mumbai. They're about to have DevCon 8 in 2026. Um, there's that residency crypto platform thing going on. Um, it's gonna be interesting to see how that play out. And then as y'all saw, there were a couple of things going on with Japan as far as lowering the tax burden for Ethereum, which like again, I did not know that was that damn high. That's mind blowing. Why are we not moving? Yo. All right, bet. And then take you off. And then some would say congratulations to Polygon for making this business partnership with MasterCard. I'm just still not a fan of Polygon like that per se. Well, no, that's a lie. I'm not gonna hold Polygon like I hate them or anything like that. But I do still agree with that earlier statement of crypto has moved up from the redheaded stepchild to the side piece. Because now you got Bassett at the Treasury Department talking about crypto. And so, yeah, seems like, joint done moved up to a different level, a higher level. Because now you're getting taken out in public. You're not everywhere in public, or we not everywhere in public, but you still out in public and you're getting praised here and there. So, yeah, arguably take it for what it is. As they say, better late than never or whatever. But yeah, So those are the things that have happened that scratch my brain. And and that Robinhood joint. I am very curious to see how this is going to play out on the what is it? The fintech side. Who's going to be the next company to follow what Robinhood is doing? Is it going to be a Venmo, PayPal, Cash App? Money's on Cash App. I don't. You know what? I might have to actually look at Weeble just to see, like, are y'all still alive? I don't know anybody who uses Weeble. But Weeble had they run during the early part of COVID. Weeble had they run. But yeah, so that's all I got for y'all. As I say, it's a Monday. Hopefully you got to enjoy your weekend. Hopefully you were in a state of peace, or you at least got to recharge the batteries from that long week that you had before. And just, check on your folks, man. Like, it's rough out here. It's rough out here, okay? And it don't look like it's gonna get any better anytime soon. So, as I say, from one human to the next, the best that I can wish you is to be in a safe place, in a safe space, and in good company. And that's what I got. So hopefully y'all have a productive of a busy week. And we'll see you next Monday. Check me out on LinkedIn side. It's Trek with 2Ks. Also, remember, I got my own channel thing. So if you could give a like, share a video, all of that other stuff. And then on the Twitter side, if y'all see something interesting, tag me in it. Trek with 2Ks all day, across all the platforms. If y'all see an interesting thing, if it's tag me in it. If it scratch my brain, I'll bring it up. Just saying. Just saying. All right, y'all. Have a good night. Check y'all out. And we out, y'all. I'm Trek with 2Ks.